Hi everyone. Shalom kulam. Shalom, shalom. I don't speak Hebrew very well. I used to, but I forgot it all. My name's Robbie, and I look after a lot of our products on the branding side of our business for Google here in Southeastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I spend a lot of my time thinking about YouTube and Google+, and a lot of really cool stuff that we're doing on display with engagement and dynamic formats. And the title of this presentation today is The New Creative Canvas. And it's all about storytelling, right? The notion of storytelling and the way that you position your content in and amongst that. And why is storytelling important? There's always someone that wants to tell a story, and there's always people here who are willing to listen to a story. I've got 250 of you guys in this room today, and my story started as soon as I got off the plane at Ben Gurion Airport. I left, I gave my passport to the lady. She asked me an enormous amount of questions about where I was born, where I was bar mitzvahed, who my rabbi was, and eventually she let me through. But then I got into a taxi, and my story started. My dream and my love affair of Get Taxi started at the airport. I got in the taxi, and the guy said, no, you do not sit in the back, you sit in the front with me. I sat in the front, and my 30-minute ride with Dov, who's 60, told me about his life and how hard it was in Israel, and his kids, and he gave me some sort of psychological help as well. It was a really emotional experience. And then yesterday I had another guy who told me about his daughter who was at university, but I don't know what she's doing, it's project something. And then last night, I was obviously wrong because I told him the wrong address, because I'd given him the wrong address, but it was an experience. They're apparently and a nation amongst themselves, these taxi drivers here in Israel. But there's the notion of storytelling. You just listen to me for a minute and a half talk about taxis. But if the story's good and it's positioned correctly, then someone's going to listen to it. Add on to that the notion of technology, and you've got a creative canvas. I'd like to let you listen and see how Google likes to tell its story today in and amongst its product set, and see what's happening in the world of India by bringing people together.
ये मैं, ये यूसुफ, लंगोटिया यार सी मेरा। लाहौर में हमारे घर के सामने एक बड़ा बाग था। उस बाग का गेट बाबा आदम के ज़माने। रोज शाम को हमने वहाँ पतंगे उड़ानी, और उसके बाद जाके यूसुफ के दुकान से झझरिया चुरा के खानी।
झझरिया?
और मेरा साहब नमस्ते।
नमस्ते, मेरी पोती मुंबई वाली।
और बेटे क्या हाल चाल है?
बचपने की तंग गली फिर से कूदे फांदे, छोटी छोटी मीठी चोरी गांठ लेके बांधे।
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
फाजिल स्वीट्स?
हाँ जी। दादाजान, दिल्ली से किसी की कॉल है।
हेलो,
यूसुफ अंकल?
कौन?
जी मैं सुमन बोल रही हूँ दिल्ली से, आपके बचपन के दोस्त बलदेव जी की पोती। याद है बचपन में आप दोनों झझरिया चुरा के खाते थे?
बचपने की तंग गली फिर से कूदे फांदे, छोटी छोटी मीठी चोरी गांठ लेके बांधे। एक पतंग सा उड़ता था परिंदों की तरह, परिंदों की तरह, परिंदों की तरह। एक दौर था मन मन मोर था, एक दौर था मन मन मोर था।
पार्टीशन के वक्त हम रातों रात हिंदुस्तान आ गए।
दादू?
यूसुफ दी बड़ी याद आती।
कागजों की कश्तियों में डूबा रहता था, झांकती खिड़कियों में उलझा रहता था। वो भी क्या दौर था मन पे न जोर था एक दौर था मन मन मोर था एक दौर था मन मन मोर था
भैया थोड़ा जल्दी।
मन मोर
हाँ जी कौन हैप्पी बर्थडे यारा यूसुफ वो यूसुफ मेरे बल्लू यूसुफ यार
So I think there were a few tears in the front row down here. It's definitely a tearjerker, but it's a fantastic way of telling a story, and I would say that because I work for Google. But look at what we did with the brand there. Look at how we positioned all of our fantastic products inside of that story. The way that she used maps, the way that she used flight search, the way that she used Google search. Any brand can do that with all its product suite that sits inside it. But the gel, the link that brings it together, is the story. So it's ultimately about providing relevant, contextual content and compelling content that people are going to watch. It's not just about advertising any longer. It's not just about throwing a 30-second TVC up on TV. Let's look at these two examples here. You've got two simple, you bring down the sound a little bit on that. So you've got one example on the right-hand side of James Dyson talking through in a very simple format with voiceover on the power of the wind machine that powers the Dyson technology. And on the other side, you've got a video being shot in their office, which is longer form content, talking about how the balloons go through and how that wind machine propels the balloons through. It's a lot cooler. There's a lot more information being used on one side versus the other. Now, if you look at the view counts on YouTube, people on YouTube vote with their eyes, right? They vote with their eyeballs. 47,000 views on one side, 2 million plus views on the other side. The longer form content is cooler. It's more interesting. There's a lot more to take home. So we've got to start thinking about that when we're building our content. It's no longer just about audience. There's a lot more that we can't just be shouting from the T-tops. We've got to be able to provide the user what he wants. The user, you, your clients, your customers are in control. You're completely in control. The user is in control. Never more so than today. I've spent many years working in the world of mobile, and the information that we need to provide you on mobile devices at that specific time is hugely, hugely important. You want it now, and you want it there. People expect brands to deliver them exactly what they want. They vote with their eyeballs. If they don't like it, they go away. Think about a TrueView ad, a skippable ad. You've got 5 seconds to say whether or not you like that ad. And as a user, you can disappear off and watch the content you want, or you can carry on watching that ad. As a brand marketeer, you've got 5 seconds to capture that guy's attention and then let him stay and watch the content going on. So he expects you to entertain him. He expects you, or she expects you to inform them. And they expect you to provide them with something useful. If what's on the box is not delivered in the content you're delivering, then it's no good. Provide the user with the most relevant information at the most relevant time. Because I'm Robbie, and I want that information where I am, when I want it, and how I want it. If I'm at home, on the couch, I'm likely to be using a tablet device. I want that information delivered to me on my tablet device, and I want it built and made for mobile if I'm out and about. Don't give me a site that's not optimized. Please don't give me a site that's not optimized. I was having dinner with a friend last night, and he's got a VIP service in Tel Aviv. And I looked at his site, and I said, dude, this is not optimized. He goes, oh, it's coming soon. I said, you're losing loads of money, my friend. And to an Israeli, that's a problem. The brands that get it, not my friend, but the brands who do get it are the ones who ask themselves a question. They ask themselves these sorts of questions. Are you proud of the work that you're producing? And why are you producing it? When you go home, are you proud to share it with mom, dad, sister, grandma, brother, I don't know who else you want over at your house, but are you going to share it? Because when I share something on Google Plus or any other social network that you may choose to use, I want people to know that I've shared that information. And as a consequence, I'm putting my name against it. And so as a brand, you've got to feel controlled to put your name against it. And so there are brands that are doing three things, and I want to think about these three things today. The notion of creating stories. Stories that you guys can use to drive business with your brands. Curating stories, the ability for you to engage with your audiences and then your audiences to take that content and continually use it going forwards. That notion of viral, hugely important for brands. If you think about how much stuff we've talked about this morning and we'll talk about later, about view counts, about the amount of traffic that one gets on YouTube channels. And then the orchestration, the way that you bring that together and you impact your media mix, the way that you buy that media, the way that you channel it, the way that you position it. Where are you going to do it? Think about those three things. So let's dive into storytelling. And we're redefining that notion here today. P&G have done this really, really well. Let's have a look at that.
Давай пошли. Ой, осторожнее.
Nochmal, Schätzchen. Here we go.
I know, it's cold.
Nice shot, buddy.
P&G, proud sponsor of Moms.
So creative storytelling. P&G own the mums category. They own the content in that category. This was all about mums saying, well, kids saying, thank you, mum, for bringing me up. And, you know, as a kid, you're told, well, you've got to be a lawyer, and you've got to be a doctor, and you've got to go out there and achieve. And this is P&G positioning themselves in the sports category and owning it and sitting behind a story. Now, it wouldn't be an event and a branding event and a Google event if we didn't talk about Red Bull and didn't mention our friend who threw himself off of a spaceship and landed back on Earth. But we love talking about that, not because the stunt was amazing, but because also the content that Red Bull are creating off the back of that and how they've reinvented themselves, no longer just as a soft drinks company, but as something much, much more than that. Look at the engagement they've got on all the content they produce. It's fabulous. But the point here is these guys have won an Emmy. They've won an Emmy for being a content producer. They've associated themselves with action sports. They own that category. They completely own action sports through motor racing, etc., etc. Now, if you think about this, the internet is the most fabulous place to think about what is exceptional. And our friends here at the Escape Pod, Vinnie Warren talks about it. We love the exceptional. We're so addicted to something that is incredibly exceptional. And so this notion of storytelling, which sits alongside the notion of performing a stunt to attract the attention of your users, to engage your brand with its consumers, is hugely apparent. I'm going to show you an example from Volvo Trucks. You may have seen it before, but ultimately what I want you to remember is that Volvo Trucks is it's not a particularly sexy product. I'm not selling Cartier watches. I'm talking about trucks. Trucks that are geared to an audience of people that want to know about the dynamic ergonomic technology that sits inside it. But look what Volvo did to reinvent themselves amongst this.
I've had my ups and downs, my fair share of bumpy roads and heavy winds. That's what made me what I am today. Now I stand here before you. What you see is a body crafted to perfection, a pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics, and a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time. We
Stability and the precision of Volvo's steering, guys. That is the end line. But it's cool, right? That is awesome. And Van Damme, I don't know how he does that and has kids, but he's done it. And I wouldn't want to do it at home. But I'm told that there's a famous Israeli that has done a parody of this. Our friend Shia Feigenbaum. I found it really difficult to find Shia Feigenbaum on the internet, right? I was looking him up. I wanted to know who this dude was, right? He's about 60, but his real name is Yehoshua Feigenbaum, right? And this guy goes where the money is, right? He's been to like 16 different clubs. He's involved in all sorts of different business. I'm told he's working and playing in Kfar Saba now. He's probably got like loads of businesses. I hope he's not in the room, but he's got loads of businesses going down there. Look what Shia did. He split his legs as well. It's quite impressive, really.
מי שרוצה לעשות היסטוריה, שיעזוב שישכח מההיסטוריה.
זה לא נורמלי מה שאת עושה לי, את משגעת לי את הלב. לא נורמלי מה שאת עושה לי, אני אותך כל כך אוהב.
I don't think his splits were as good as Van Damme. He's a little bit older, so it's a little tougher for him. But again, that notion of copying is quite interesting, and we talked about that earlier on. So a brand here in Israel jumping off the back of Volvo and associating themselves, putting a personality against it. The last part of that creating stories notion, and you've got heroes, and you've got stunts, and then you've got this notion of snackable. You're producing content as brands here in this room today. You produce lots of it. And you want to give people bite-sized, snackable pieces to take home. And in this example, you've got an insurance company, which is ultimately not the most sexy product to sell either. But they've said to themselves, what are people looking at on Google? What are they searching for? What's important to them from an insurance perspective? And they found out that password security was hugely important to their customers. So they've used data, they've used technology to understand what content to build. So let's have a look at this.
Hey, Helen, your account has been hacked. Somebody guessed your password.
Well, how did they know? I picked something so random.
Was it dolphin?
I gotta take this. Hello? Hi, Gary. No, I'm not having a good day.
Using Google search, using the power of understanding what your customers are doing, and then producing snackable content off the back of it. Let's move on to the notion of curating, right? The notion of building an audience, engaging with that audience, and letting them start sharing material off the back. The example I'm going to show you is an inspirational example. It takes you on a journey, and that's hugely important when you're telling a story. A start, a middle, and an end. Even if you think about my taxi driver story, maybe there wasn't an end to it, but maybe I'll find one later on. The relationship with the user is hugely important, and it's got to be authentic. And so I'm going to show you an example from WestJet, which is all around Christmas, but if it was here, it'd be El Al and it would be Hanukkah. Just think about that for your next campaign if El Al are in the room.
'Twas a night before Christmas, and all across the land, the good folks at WestJet had a miracle planned. On the eve before flying, the guests were in their beds. Visions of traveling danced in their heads. While out on the runway, something secret had arrived. It was left in the lounge. 'Twas a Christmas surprise.
Is that Cohen? What are you looking for Christmas this year, Cohen? A choo-choo train? Ho, ho, ho! A classic! Do you like Thomas?
Yeah, Thomas.
What would Mommy and Daddy like for Christmas?
Big TV.
Yeah, big TV.
Ho, ho, ho! A big TV!
But was everything ready? We all had to wait for the moment of truth at Carousel 8.
So an unbelievable way of evangelizing the WestJet audience. But just take this back a little bit. And Alal, I'm waiting for you guys to do that at Hanukkah. I think that would be awesome. I'll definitely fly with you. I promise I won't go BA. Or Air France. The seats are smaller. No, the point I'm making here is that what WestJet did brilliantly is they engaged with technology to make that work. Think about what they did, right? They took the offline, they took the outdoor world, and they put it onto the mobile world. They put it into the digital world, right? Cohen, who sounds like he's got a Jewish name as well, he scanned his pass, right? He scanned his boarding pass on that screen, and that then identified that guy as Cohen, and his parents as well, who were traveling with him. They knew where they were sitting, they knew their family name, they knew their destination. They used technology to bring this all together. And at the point in time when Cohen says, oh, you know what, I want a choo-choo train, well, they've understood that information, they've sent it off to Best Buy, and Best Buy then sending that delivery to them straight away. The whole thing is just awesome how the digital creative canvas has brought that whole thing together. So the orchestration is hugely important, and I want to finish with this and to leave you with this message. That think of your brand as liquid content, conforming to every medium that the user touches. You know, you've got the ability to touch that guy at any moment in the day, whether that be on a mobile device, a tablet device, on his desktop device, through the power of storytelling. And so as a consequence, make sure you're selecting the right tools to orchestrate that relationship. We've got the most amazing technological ability now to communicate with our users. Never more so than before. By throwing an ad, by throwing a video up on the net, can you get instantaneous reaction from your customers? You don't get that as much from TV, but digital gives you that ability. So think about that for every phase of your campaign. It was a pleasure to be here. Think about the creative canvas. My name's Robbie. Thank you very much.